and moderator for the evening, Academy Award-winning actor and producer, Robert Downey Jr.
How awesome is that movie? Mr. Chalemet, would you mind coming out and discussing with us for a minute? Feel free to stand, because that's what we call an absolutely masterful cinematic performance. Yep. And by the way, while you're all up still, congratulations on Sunday, etc. And now I'll pull a line up out of Iron Man. Why don't we all just sit down afterwards? Just take a seat. Let's depressurize the situation. I take it you've been advised of your rights?
Yes.
Okay, good. I saw this movie, and I'm flashing back to when you were 22. I saw Call Me By Your Name, and then just a year or two ago, A Complete Unknown, and I go, my God, this guy is technically so evolved. And then I see this movie, and I go, oh, and now there's this other thing, which is such a specificity of showing the psychic life of a character, building him from the inside out and the outside in. It's just an astonishing achievement, dude. What is this period of time like for you? And I know backstage you were telling me it's kind of exhausting, but I know that that's expectable. But what is just being at this point in this journey like?
Well, it's what I said Sunday. It's an exercise in gratitude. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Seeing this theater filled to the brim, the kind of reception you gave both of us coming out here, I mean, truly it hits me to my core, you know? And for me, it's been a bit of a vibe shift where I feel in December my energies were entirely towards getting this movie out in the biggest way possible because I really believe in it and hugely. And I'm so satisfied everyone here has seen it now because I think now you guys hopefully know what I was talking about, which is that this is to no consequence of my own. I'm a part of it, but really because of Josh Safdie, this incredible director, and the incredible cast, the incredible production team. Yeah. And I know it's not just actors in here too, so I want to shout out Jack Fisk, the production designer, Bianca Bellinci, costume designer. And the effort here was sincere in the sense that there was no ulterior motive here. It was like a bunch of hungry artists coming together and giving it their all. So specific to your question, I feel like what this moment is now is I've really tried to get out of the mindset of, okay, getting this out in the biggest way possible and really even stepping into a place like the Directors Guild, you know, in a room full of fellow artists tonight, you know, switching mindset into gratitude, but also, you know, reverence sounds like a cheesy word, but real reverence for the, you know, the opportunity to be in these spaces, to be on stage with you, you know, not just to blow smoke.
Feel free.
Okay. Well, in that case, you know, opposite someone whose career I look up to hugely, you know, and we basically met on FaceTime a couple of days ago.
Dude, here's how I saw this movie, I was like, fuck, man, he's really done it. This is mind-blowing. And also just because it's just such a great film, you know? Any one of us can say, you know, that the worst review you ever want to get is, he's the best thing in the movie. It's that you're so exceptionally good and that the film, I mean, this is a real piece of art. And I think that nowadays that's the essence. And this happened, Complete Unknown, and then Dune Prophecy, and then this?
This was Complete Unknown and Marty Supreme I shot in a 7-month span in New York. Yeah,
Okay.
Man, Robert, you gotta come with me everywhere, man. This is
in a way, it's kind of interesting, right? Because there's this seamless thing where I feel like, as far as, and I remember when I was about your age, and I kind of just got bathed in this need to become technically proficient across the board in arguably a much more well-known face, I mean, just culturally, for generationally, than I had even doing Chaplin. And that's like one level of stuff, right? But the fact that you went back to back and did that and then did this shows me there's like this quintessence, is that every time you do something, you're building on what you've just done, and you're bringing it to bear. And what you do next.
Not to cut you off, but I love that you speak in things in terms of like technical proficiency. Chaplin for A Complete Unknown was one of the things I looked at and went, wow, okay, somebody very recognizable as an actor, as Robert Downey Jr., shapeshifted into another very well-known figure. It gave me confidence approaching the Bob Dylan role. As you speak about technical proficiency, you know, it's something I talked to about with a drama teacher in my high school, you know, as my career started at, you know.
Name check, who was it?
Harry Schiffman.
Thank you.
Yeah, and a really, you know, he just retired recently, but a brilliant mind, and no pun intended. And he, when Call Me By Your Name came out, I was not disillusioned, but kind of overwhelmed with everything. And he said, yeah, but raw talent isn't mastery, is what he said to me. And this is nowhere near that either, but it gave me a sort of thing to chase. And something like this, or the ability to lock in day after day, this tone, you know, if I had the working habits, not that they were lazy, but they weren't to the degree I have now, as far as the level of preparation and all these things. I don't want to sound like, you know, blah, 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 but, you know, yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you if you're going over the edge. It feels like there's such a discipline to this role, and I just love this guy. You know what I mean? It's so weird. He does so many things that you go like, did he just say that? Did he just do that? Wait, we know what he knows. Is he really doing this? Wait a minute, he's not gonna do that to her now that she did this to him, is he? He's not really gonna make her feel this way about this happening in her life. And every time there's just this real discipline of staying on point, and I hate to say this, but what is motivating this guy? And I wanted to get into that a little bit because I think it's part of the reason that the film works so well, is that there's this thing called a fair world or a fair life fallacy, that life is in some way fair. And when you were approaching playing Marty, knowing what the trajectory was there a mindset you were thinking like, this is what is driving him from moment to moment to moment?
Man, I love that question, because if you grow up in New York, I'm sure people here grew up in New York as well. You have front row right away.
We have one East Coaster here?
No.
Let's go.
I'm sure there's many.
Right.
By the way, I don't think it's a New York thing. I think it's a Philadelphia thing. I think it's a Boston thing. Yeah, like if you grow up in that pressurized setting, you know, I grew up in a building called Manhattan Plaza. Once more, I'm sure people here have either lived there or know people that have lived there. That it just makes you dream and dream bigger than life. And I haven't heard that fair life fallacy, but I think I realized it very early on. I had a childhood and upbringing where I could have a sleepover, a friend where I visit their living condition and realize, okay, I'm in a better living condition, and I'll go somewhere else and go, okay, this person's in a way nicer living condition than I have. And but it really made me dream big, and that's what was so inspiring with this movie. Is I feel as I've gotten older and talked to my little cousins or whatever, I feel like when I was in high school, dreaming big that's what I consumed. It's the Nike commercials I consumed. It was the Kobe Bryant commercials I consumed, the Michael Jordan documentaries. And then I feel like, maybe it was post-COVID or something, I don't know, like, as the world has become evidently harsher, I think the world's always been harsh, but now social media is evidently harsh. And I feel with young people there isn't that, and I want to, I think trying hard is awesome, and I think Marty Mauser is an embodiment of that. He's a try-hard, But when you're in a setting like he is, or I feel like I was in early in my acting career, you have to be the stalwart. If you're not rolling 13 deep backstage, you're one deep. You're your only support system. And I hope I didn't cross anyone the way he crosses people in this movie. But in those moments, it's not that I necessarily related to it, but it's like Meryl Streep said, you know, the parts of your character you don't get when you finally understand them, that's when you crack the character. And I feel Josh Safdie, the director, was always in my head about, you don't judge this guy, you know, and some of the comments towards Rachel or whatever. I have that great line at the end to Ram Sethi, the table tennis commissioner, where he says, you know, where I come from, it's every man for himself, and that really does something to a person. That sounds so plain spoken and maybe not sophisticated in the setting I just said it in, but if you grew up like that, you know that to be true, you know?
Well, again, and just as far as Josh Safdie goes, I mean, this was a real hat trick. I want to go, there's a sequence you may recall from 14 seconds ago where the guy says, don't use the shower, don't use the bath. And what happens after that could have been the most obscenely tone-wrecking sequence ever. But again, he had you. And the tub falls through on the dog, breaking his arm, this and that, and you made us buy it.
I appreciate. I think Josh nailed that, though. I will take it.
Nah, but
No. I'll take it from you. No, but I mean,
just talk about that sequence a little bit.
No, but even that is. I thought. I remember reading that, thinking, man, with any other project that might be the thing. Like, what is this? You know, like what is the? This doesn't link to any, you know, thematically, but Josh is just a master. I also think those are the things that excite him the most in filming, and you know, then I'm there, you know, naked with the appropriate, I don't know, I only know the dirty way of saying it, the cocksock, I don't know how to say it, and you know, the water's wet, you're in the bathtub,
Yes.
and then
Well, that must have been a ball to shoot.
say it again.
A ball to shoot.
No pun intended. Two. Yeah, just to be clear. Oh boy, this is bring it back on the rails, Rob.
No, it's going great, buddy.
Okay, all right. But that was like, you know, Josh was so excitable that day and loving it, and you know, we're in the bathtub. It's practical. There's water, and I look up and there's, you know, lights that are hanging off our rig base. And I pulled Josh aside. I was like, man, this has been properly, you know, done, right? It's not going to collapse in the water. It's not how I want to go out, but
Such
yeah.
risk, you know. There's that moment where all the Marty you know, I thought the Marty Supreme balls were going to have an arc, right? I thought maybe we're going to see him, maybe he gets a product, maybe whatever. You really couldn't have determined where the story went, but there's something in that image of all those balls going out the window and this thing of every time this guy fights to do whatever he has to do to get away from the situation that he would find intolerable, which is not believing he is the best at something, fucking anything.
That's what Ryan Coogler said to me a week ago, was that he was an athlete growing up too, and that's maybe what he related to the most in the film, and I haven't heard it a lot from people, was this thing where your sport is your getaway mechanism for life. The way soccer and basketball was, it's something for me, and acting has become, you know, not continually, but when I found acting, and you know, I love how you just said that, because it is a means to an end, to find that escape valve.
And you see that too. Tell me if anyone can relate to this. Anyone who comes from a home environment where you're just kind of like, oh Christ, how am I going to manage this? And you're managing, on occasion, your parents. You're managing the situation. You're managing the culture you're in and trying to represent for that culture. Out of all of this, I'm telling you, I see what's great about us, even if we're kind of embarrassing and dysfunctional. So I think there's something about this film, which is, it's kind of a new kind of hero, which is why I'm so happy that you guys had the wherewithal to set it, period. Because you know how sometimes when something is not set in a contemporary way, you're able to deal with its messaging a little better, you know what I mean? And I feel like Marty is kind of becoming this kind of archetype for a way of, nowadays, when everything is about, it seems so divided and so disparate, the idea is, as long as you know that you have won, whatever that means in overcoming your own limitations or whatever, that it's not about really how it looks on the outside. And I keep wondering, because some people are like, you know, when I bet he has the... Can we just talk about that last scene where he goes into the place and sees his baby? That was so unexpected. Just for instance, because I've had these moments, they come maybe a half a dozen times in a career. They say, okay, scene 131 is up, you feeling good? And roll sound. And you're like, fuck, man. Fuck. And then, if you're lucky and you're prepared and you're disciplined, all you have to do is just start walking to your mark, and you know that you're going to be lifted by the angels of your effort. So please tell me just a little bit about that, what you remember about that day, that moment, etc., because it lands the film in such an effective way.
Wow. Oh man. You just nailed it. I mean, that's the scene you circle and it gives you butterflies, and I feel like that was the biggest swing on Josh's part more than for me, because Marty could be such a detestable character at times. It's really to take this gambit and go, okay, will people buy this man's journey, basically, however you interpret that moment, whether it's the grief of the end of his youth, or that he's going to transition into fatherhood, or whatever it be. On a practical level, I don't have anything really exciting to say. It's just trying to do the best job for the scene. And I remember Grip that day saying, "Don't fuck it up." I was like, oh man. It was like the one guy I was getting close with on set, and I was like, fuck, man.
Did you have a thought in your head that you used to springboard into that moment?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, we'll talk about it when we're done here. This is my new pal. I love this dude because I think that what this industry needs is people who are excellent and responsible. And by the way, just because it's kind of fun, and A24 and everyone, I gotta tip my hat. You want to talk about how to promote an out-of-the-box movie? And for any of you who are thinking about, I've done something, it's special, and if you're lucky enough to have someone at the tip of the spear to go out and say, or tip of the spear, yeah, I'll go on top of the spear. There'll be a safety line, right? This is gonna help. Key color, orange. It's like, it's just been one of the most, particularly if you're gonna do something that I think deserves to have a massive audience like this is, and by the way, congrats, it's doing really well, and it hasn't even opened internationally yet. But that to me is part of it, right? Nowadays, it's also how do you get out, and I wanna say this too, because you know, the marketing season ended for you. The award season is well underway, and I'm officially kicking off my Avengers fucking Doomsday pre-press. And I just want to let it be known that we decided, because, well, you want to hit him with it, he's got the right name, but we both have films opening on December 18th, and we decided to coin it.
You go for it.
We're thinking Doomsday. You like it? All right. We'll see if we're still friends by then.
Exactly.